Okay, code bakers, we're going to start the process of adding different types of levels to our game. There's now a trigger based on whether you have met all the friends in your new town. We're using bare bones maps made with tiled so that we can focus on the programming concepts. After this, you can go back and make your maps more complicated. The third map are the demo maps from the Modern Interiors tile set from Lime Zoo on itch.io. This is a demonstration of the tiles in use, and it's on the itch.io site. So this map was built by Lime Zoo to illustrate what his tile set could do. I don't have all the bounding boxes set up for the different types of obstacles. So the player can walk through walls at this point, but we could box it out, and that's the apple pie. If you want to follow along, you could build your own map from the Modern Interiors tile set from Lime Zoo, or use the demo. Create a variable for the maximum number of friends. We're going to set it to 0 because we're going to set this number, increment it, when we add the friends in the load friends function. We're going to scroll down and create a new function. Along the way, if there's unused code, like the dialog box that was commented out, let's just delete that to make our code a little smaller. So we're going to create a new method. So this is above that last curly bracket. So this method is within the class. And we're going to call it new scene. We'll make it async. Initiate or just print change a scene. In order to delete the scene or change the scene, we have to delete the existing scene. So let's go into the load friends.dart file, and we're going to create a temporary variable here for the friend. And so let's cut and paste the instantiation of the friend component above game.add. And we'll initially just add it in. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create a list of components that have been added to the game map. And the number of friends on the map is going to vary per map, right? Because you're adding it in with tiled. You're using a map editor. So if you've added 2 friends to the map level and you found all 2 friends, then you're going to switch to the next scene. Look for the place where you've successfully made a friend. So I'm going to place mine under the game.applause.start, right? Because when you make a friend, then this applause starts, and so it's been successful. We're going to have a check here to see if the max friends is equal to the friend number. The friend number is the score on the game screen. It's in the lower left-hand portion of your game screen when you're playing the game. So if the max friends is equal, you found all the friends on the screen, then let's increment the scene number and call our new function. The first scene is scene number 1. So that's the screen or the scene that the character is in, George, when you first start your game. And we're going to store it in mygeorgegame.dart. Test the game and make sure that there's a trigger that happens when you complete the first scene. Our next step is to remove scene 1. There's several steps within this one step. We're first going to remove the map. Then we're going to have to remove all the components within the map. When we were first designing the game, I didn't anticipate that there'd be these levels. So you could probably re-architect it in the future to make this process easier, but this will work. And I think it'll take you through each of the steps that's needed to change a level. So the first step is just to delete the actual map. So we'll create a late variable. We're using the game itself to store the variables. Since we have home map as part of the variables that's listed under the main Flame game, we can now remove it. So this is just the initial map. It's like the background images, but we've added a bunch of components onto it. There's also a number of variables that I'm going to reset: the baked goods inventory, the friends number, max friends, and we'll stop the audio. We're going to create a list of components that we add to the game, and then we're going to populate this list as we're loading the components with a list of all the individual components. So a component would be a friend, a baked good, an obstacle. And we'll build up this component list during this video, and then we'll remove all the components when we want to reset or move to the next scene. So in Flame, there is this remove all, and it accepts a component list. So this is a list of all the components, which we'll have to populate this list. So when we remove it, we're ready for the maybe scene 3. So I'm going to set the component list back to an empty array. There's a bit of work here, but we can use this same method for any number of levels or scenes. So you can keep changing the scene and just by adding new maps in. Every time you add a friend to the game screen, you'll also add the friend to this list. And we can then use this component list to remove all the friends when we want to change the scene. Let's test it out and see how many of the components that we can get off of the screen. Okay, so testing it. Boom. Okay, great. The game, the initial map is gone, and we've deleted the friends. We still have our components here for the obstacles. Let's repeat the process for the load obstacle and the obstacle components. We'll follow the same process. So the first step is we're just going to create a temporary variable to hold the instantiated obstacle component, and this is in the load obstacles.dart file. Once we've separated out the instantiated object, we can then add it to the game as well as add it to this list of components and we're using that list of components to use remove all and delete it. So let's just add it to this list of components. So it's we're storing it in game, and it's just a standard Dart list dot add to add something to a list, and then it's the name of the thing we want to add, which is obstacle component. In the add baked goods.dart file, we're going to duplicate the process for each of the baked good types, starting with the apple pie. So create a temporary variable for apple pie, and we'll use that to hold the instantiated baked goods class with the sprite of the apple pie. We'll add the apple pie to the game.add, and then we will add the apple pie to the component list. We're using this component list again to remove all the objects at the end of a scene. We're going to repeat the process for the cookie, the cheesecake, and the choco cake. If you wanted to have a wider variety of baked goods, for example, 10 different baked goods or different types of interactive objects, you'd have to change the loader file. Congratulations. With this step, you've successfully cleared the first scene. We're going to reuse this function in the every scene that we build. So we're in a great position to next add the new scene into the game in the next video. Subscribe to the channel for updates on the more than 50 videos I've made on Flame. The videos with source code are also available for free on Teachable, 100% free course if this is a hobby. In whatever way you choose to learn, make sure you have fun and unleash your creativity. Have a fantastic day.